Hi, everybody, and welcome to the next installment of In Your Community here with the Albuquerque Journal. I'm Gino Gutierrez here at the Supernationals car show, hosted right here at the Albuquerque Journal. Very excited. We got a lot of really awesome cars out here, and I'm very lucky to be joined by somebody who's going to educate me a lot on the cars we have out here. David Swope, who's the president and CEO of the Better Business Bureau. You were also the host for 11 years of the New Mexico Motorsports Report as well. So, David, you're an expert in helping us figure out what's going on out here. Can you tell our listeners and our watchers a little bit about what this event is?
Absolutely. So we're at the Father's Day Car Show. It's hosted by Supernationals and Gutierrez Garage. It's a great collection of supercars, classic cars, a little bit of everything. Of course, got some food trucks and everything. So it's a super great time. Love to be a part of it. It's like a homecoming. All your friends that you only see at other car shows, we all collect here. So I'm so happy to be here with you guys.
David, and we're so lucky to have you. We're going to be walking around the car show today, talking to a few car owners here, getting to check out some really awesome cars, some vintage, some a little newer, some I'm sure you guys are going to be able to spot right away. So very excited to get started out here. David, any last thoughts before we kind of go check everything out?
Well, I would say just come out and enjoy. It's here for everybody. There's car shows going on every weekend. If you ever wanted to find out what was going on, I mean, you could always go to the New Mexico Council of Car Clubs. Most people don't know that New Mexico is a haven for classic cars because we don't have the rust. And so there's over 40 car clubs in Albuquerque, probably about 4,000 members. So it ought to be a lot of fun today.
Yep, it'll be very exciting and very fitting that we're out here during the centennial of Route 66. A lot of motorsports history and a lot of really just vehicle history in New Mexico. So we'll get a chance to pick the brains of some of the car collectors here at the Supernationals Car Show. Very excited to get started. Welcome back to the Albuquerque Journal's coverage of the Supernational Car Show. I'm Gino Gutierrez, joined alongside David Swope, my co-host, and we're here with Steve Rowan and his 2000 Nissan Skyline R34, an awesome car for any of you Fast and Furious fans out there. This will look very, very familiar. Steve, you were talking a little bit to David and I before we started recording about kind of how the Fast and Furious played a part in this. Can you give us a little bit more detail on the car and kind of how you came into possession of it?
Right. So, yeah, this is a 2000 Nissan Skyline R34. You got to put the GTR in there.
Yes, absolutely.
That's true, yeah.
Part changes the motor, changes the drive. So, I mean, I just kind of came into the whole car scene at the right time, right when Fast and Furious was coming out. This was a hero car for the second movie, and I was enamored with it right then. I was into Japanese cars, into racing, into the whole boy racer culture. And, this came out and it was the hero. It was the Godzilla. It came from Japan to kill everything. And I bought into it heavy then. I looked into what it would take to get one. There were a few people kind of gray market importing them then, but I was broke, being 18. And so I moved on and kind of forgot about it. But 25 years later, they're legal for import. And so I strapped my quarters together and bought one.
So does that mean that Fast and the Furious 2 is your favorite movie, or which is your favorite one?
Oh, I don't know. Two's got a good spot, right? It's got a lot of...
What about Tokyo Drift?
It goes deeper into the Japanese culture. Sure, but there's no skylines. They're not really. I mean, they don't hero car it there. So the second movie's pretty good.
Well, that's true. And of course, coming through town, it's the 100-year anniversary of the Albuquerque Journal, but it's also the 100-year anniversary of Route 66. Absolutely. So there's a car show that's a rolling car show that's coming through town from Springfield, Illinois to Pasadena, California. They're going to be making an Albuquerque stop on Wednesday night of this coming week.
Nice.
So you're going to run out and check out, see what kind of cars there. Maybe there'll be a Skyline.
Maybe there will. Maybe I'll be the Skyline.
Well, you can absolutely do that. I know there's a car show with it. You're also talking about a collection. You've been working on a collection.
Yeah, I've got so many cars that I want to buy, right? It's an unhealthy, slippery slope. I don't recommend it. So I picked this car up, and it was absolutely the gateway to buying another one. So I got on the auction mailing list, so I get daily emails of all these things that are available. And so I bought a 2000, another 2000, built in the same year, in January of 2000. a Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution Tommy Mackinnon edition. Wow.
So have you kind of connected with the local tuner sport with this type of car? Have you been able to connect locally?
Yeah, there's a whole little subculture of guys that drive Japanese domestic market cars. It's kind of like the base entry should be that the steering wheel's on the wrong side, but they let a few other normal cars in as well. But yeah, we all talk about how hard it is to get parts and how hard it is.
Absolutely.
You know, the insurance is difficult because they don't have 17-digit VINs, and so you can't finance them. You can't barely insure them, and so it makes it a little bit more difficult to own. But it is fun to connect with the culture.
Have you been out to see any of the drift races out at Sandia Speedway? I guess it's Suka Speedway now.
I have not been out there yet, but I've got a bunch of people that are telling me I need to come. This is not a car that we're going to put on the track, but we'll find a different car for me to start actually racing with.
Well, that might be your next car.
And the interesting part I can't help but notice, David and Steve, is wrong side of your steering wheel seems to be on the wrong side of the car.
Or it could be the right side.
Or it could be the right side. That's true.
It is the correct side. It is the right side. It's more difficult to drive here in the U.S. just because it makes more sense when you're on the left side of the road. The steering wheel's on the right, so you're towards the center. Mm-hmm. So making left turns, you're kind of leaning over pretty hard to see things. And not that I ever go through a drive-through in this, but you couldn't, at least not very well.
Well, I don't know how well you could reverse through a drive-through window with this thing.
I know a guy that has a 60s Mini that's what he does.
Really?
He drives it through backwards to get his food, which, okay, I mean, you do what you need to do.
Yeah, I mean, I know for me, growing up in the early 2000s, when the Fast and Furious movies were coming out, this was the dream car for a lot of the my high school friends that I have. Do you get a lot of stares when you're driving down the road in this thing? I got to imagine it attracts a lot of attention.
Right. Yeah, it's hard to go anywhere in this car without having someone tell you their story, how they're connected with this car and how it was their dream car, which is why I got the license plate that says dream car. It was that or keep dreaming, right?
Yeah.
So you can tell they're always like, babe, you don't even know. I just need this car. You got to let me get one. And, you know, she'll either say, keep dreaming.
Yeah.
Or he'll come to tell me that it's his dream car. So I had to get the license plate. I had to misspell it a little bit because somebody else has DRMCAR. I'd love to know who it is, what it's on. But
yeah, I imagine
changed mine a little bit.
I imagine for a lot of people, they drive one of these and then they wake up in the morning and that's where the experience ends.
Sure.
Well, there are a fair number of right-hand drive cars out that run with the out at Suka Speedway. So I think you got some guys that probably could help you with that and would probably, and don't let them talk you into, well, let me drive it and you sit on the other side.
You know, no one's asked me to drive it yet. I think they just know better. Even my good friends are like, he's not going to let me do it. But I let some people drive the Mitsubishi because it's a little bit more approachable car than this one.
So, yeah, tell us a little bit about a couple of other cars you got.
Well, it doesn't fit well in car culture, but I drive I think it's interesting. I daily drive a Ford Lightning, the electric. I love that truck.
What's wrong with that?
The car guys don't like electrics.
Oh no, I know a lot of car guys that have electric because of that instant power, and secretly they all like Formula E. So,
yeah, I get it, and I've been working on a custom electric car, but I don't know if it'll ever see the light of day because it's definitely eating a lot more time and money than I thought it could.
Wow. Hey, Steve, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Enjoy the show. I guess we're going to go see some more cars.
Yeah, this was awesome to see, Steve. Thank you so much for letting us take a peek at the Skyline. I know for me, this is kind of a little bit of a dream come true, as you say. Thank you so much for spending some time with us and educating us on the car.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the Supernationals car show here at the Albuquerque Journal. I'm Gino Gutierrez, joined once again by David Swope. We're now joined by Barry and Paula Schuleman and their wonderful 1968 Ford Mustang Rizamon Coupe. Hopefully I got that right. And David, a beautiful car. We were talking with both owners before we got started, talking about the color. Perfect kind of grayish Mustang color and a beautiful vehicle. And we'll let Barry and Paula tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah. Hey, Paula, what would you call that color?
Well, actually, it's a 2020 Tesla steel gray. Barry wanted it to be blue or gray. I wanted it to be red originally. So I got online and I started looking at grays and blues, and I discovered this color. And we took it to Jim's shop and he found that color, but he wanted to do enhancements. So that's how we came up with this color.
Well, that's how you get associated with Jim Guthrie, is all of a sudden there's enhancements that happen. So in regards to that, I mean, talk a little bit about kind of the background and the thought that went into this particular car, Barry.
Well, when I was a teenager, all my friends had brand new cars. They had muscle cars like, Dodge Darts or ARPs or GTOs, and I couldn't afford one. So I ended up with a Volkswagen. So that jealousy, that envy led me to the point where I built a pony car.
Well, I won a championship in a '73 Super Beetle, so you weren't still so far off. Yeah. But when I think of 1968, and of course the gunmetal grade, when I see it, I think about the movie Bullet, and of course the famous fastback. But you guys went with a notchback. I love that. Talk a little bit about that decision.
That would be up to him.
Yeah. So what I wanted was to build a vintage 60s pony car. And I was looking for Novas, Challengers, Chargers, whatever I could find that was in that vintage. And we found this 1968 notchback in Grants. And it was the first car I came across that had no rust in it. So I decided on that. And what I wanted, the ultimate goal was to build a modern car in a vintage body.
Well, and I think you succeeded, and that's probably where Guthrie did come in, is he helps with the modernization, but he keeps the line straight and still an absolutely beautiful car. So as we were talking about a little earlier, it's also the 100th anniversary of Route 66. Also, coincidentally, the 100th anniversary of the Albuquerque Journal. Congratulations to them.
Wow, yeah.
But the race that's coming through town is called the Great Race. It's going to be here on Wednesday, June 24th, rolling in the evening with an evening stop. And so we were talking a little bit about that. I mean, you guys have plans to go out for that?
Yeah, definitely. We're going to be there. Wouldn't miss it. It's going to be fun. 4 o'clock on Wednesday, the 24th.
Yes. Yeah. It's coming up. And so, of course, when I think about the Great Road and Route 66, I do think about the muscle cars. And I think about how, they would drive across the country. Have you done any trips in this one?
We have not taken any really long trips. We haven't probably gone over a couple 300 miles at a time. But since 2022, when this was completed, we've now got 15,000 miles on it, and it's trouble-free.
Awesome. So I guess I got to ask, is there maybe now some plans in your future?
Not for long trips. Not for long trips. We like to do day trips, just trips out in the East Mountains, go out to lunch, picnics and things like that. But overnight, we don't do that.
Any plans for another car?
Well,
or were you gonna add to that?
Not. Well, I just wanted to say that one of the problems with a car like this, if you go someplace, like if you go to Amarillo for that car show, what do you do with a car overnight?
Right.
And so if you don't have a secure place to store it, it's gone, or it could get damaged or whatever. And so we thought about transporting, and that's very expensive. So we just decided that we're going to do our adventures in the East Mountains, in the Albuquerque area, and we find wonderful places to go to lunch, like out in Cerrillos or in Madrid, and it's just beautiful.
Paula, what do you think about the car culture in New Mexico?
Oh, I think it's fabulous. There's no place like it. New Mexico is the best for car culture.
So, Barry, don't you think it's like every time you come out, you get to catch up with old friends, families come out, and you get to spend time out. And the weather is actually absolutely gorgeous for June 20th.
It is. And I end up having a lot of friends that come by, our friends right next to us, David and Lillian. We got together with them this morning to come into the show. And then we've got the Rio Grande Mustang Club just down the way here. And we're members of the Mustang Club. Uh-huh. And that is one of the venues where we're able to, take these wonderful trips, like to the Jemez. We go to the Jemez Falls. We go to the Jemez to eat lunch. We go up to Nam Bay and what?
In Lamy.
And Lamy.
Yeah, Lamy's fabulous. So I would be remiss without talking about the power plant. I mean, what do we got in this thing?
So this is a 2017 Gen 2 Coyote, and it's got a Tremec 6-speed behind it. All of that was bought from Ford Racing, so it's not the typical 2017 Gen 2 Coyote. It's a higher performance. It doesn't have any of the features that a normal car would have, like cruise control, air conditioning control, fan control. All of that I had to do on my own. But it's a very high performance engine. And at this time, it dynos at the rear wheels at 418 horsepower.
Wow. And so, and Paula picked the motor, right?
No, I didn't pick the motor. I picked the color and the wheels.
No. She picked the color and she picked the interior. And she did an exceptional job. Yeah.
Oh, and she did the wheels.
Yeah.
Nice job.
Yeah.
Nice job.
Thank you.
But to begin with this thing, I had 3 points of real trepidation with it. The first one was we had a shell of a body because I bought a roller. We had a shell of a body, and I bought all these parts, thousands of dollars worth of parts. And here they are sitting in my shop with this shell of a body sitting there, and I'm going, am I really going to be able to do this? Then the next one was the dyno. Is everything going to work? Is it going to blow up? Is the drive shaft going to fall off? And then the last one was when Jim aligned the car for the first time. I lost sleep over that because I thought, boy, if I did anything wrong and messed this up, all the stuff before that, all the money invested before that is for naught. So it all worked out.
Well, I think you did something right. I want to thank you so much for coming out and joining us today and sharing the story on your car. Really appreciate it, Barry.
Okay.
Paula, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we got some more cars we're going to go see.
Yep, we're very excited to go see what else we have out here at the Supernationals Car Show once again. And if you do stop by and check this car out, again, be sure to take a look at the rear suspension while you're at it.
Absolutely.
Used to say rear end.
Okay.
Take a look at my rear end.
Thank you guys again so much for showing us around this beautiful Mustang. Welcome back to the Supernational Car Shows here at the Albuquerque Journal. I'm Gino Gutierrez, joined by my co-host David Swope. We're here with David O'Porter, if I could talk, and his wonderful Triumph. We're very excited to get to know a little bit more about this vehicle. We're out here as a part of the Journal's In Your Community celebrations for 100 years of Lang ownership of the Albuquerque Journal, which happens to coincide with the 100-year anniversary of Route 66 as well, and fitting that we're out here with all of these classic cars. I'll let the two Davids kind of take over and let you know a little bit more about this vehicle and kind of what makes it so special. Guys?
Well, this is now the David and David show.
It is. It is.
Let's talk a little bit about the Triumph. This is a TR4. We've got some TR3s right in front of you. You want to talk about kind of the difference when they went from that model to the 4?
Yeah, we have a very late TR3 that's the last of the small mouth Triumphs. This is a more modern TR3. And then they went to this model, the TR4, which morphed into a TR4A.
Yeah.
And then they finally morphed into the TR6, which we have in back. So,
well, when it first came out, it was, of course, a complete redesign. Right. I mean, they brought in an Italian. You know, they threw out all the plans right to begin with. Then they finally brought him back and settled on this vehicle. But right away, it's well designed. It competed at the sectionals with SCCA, won a lot of races. Talk a little bit about kind of the Triumph and vintage racing.
Well, when SCCA first got involved with vintage racing, you raced what you drove to work every day. Absolutely. So there's really very little difference in these cars. The chassis is the same. The engine is the same. They went from ball and pin steering to a rack and pinion. Right. So there was some nice upgrades. Yeah. They ended up with an independent rear suspension, which took some of the buckboard ride out of the Triumphs. People love the look of this car.
Very nice.
Yeah, they called them knuckle draggers. You could just hang your knuckles on the ground practically. So.
Well, and the interesting thing about them as well is how the sports car enthusiasm came to the United States after post-World War II. And all the English cars that came over, and this is a perfect example. But then they translated into the American lexicon like right away. The 100 years of Route 66 with the drive from Springfield to Pasadena that's going through here on Wednesday. It's just exciting because we'll probably see some of these vehicles.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that 60% of the production came to the U.S.
Wow.
For Triumph. Yeah, that's where all the money was.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting story for me because this is what my dad first got into when he was in Kansas City, because they had a big English car club. He's got a picture of me with my arm on the drop-down door. At 3, he drove his TR4 from Kansas City to Albuquerque, ended up getting into Corvettes because there wasn't a big English club car at the time, and then kind of, transitioned to other things and eventually into club racing. But in the vintage racing class, we have some Triumphs that run here in Albuquerque.
Yeah, we do. In fact, one of them is at Mossport this weekend in the Kaz Kastner trophy race. So it's good to see Albuquerque represented out of the country. So yeah,
absolutely. So the vintage racing locally really kind of started with the building of Sandia Speedway. Opened up in 2000. Southwest Motorsports was integral actually in getting that track on the map and getting it started.
Your dad.
Yeah, I was actually there for the first meeting.
Yeah.
I think I signed the document or something of all the people that were present. But yeah, no, I appreciate you. Shout out to Bill Swope, especially on Father's Day.
Yeah.
But it was so important to kind of keep these cars going, and we've always approached it as these cars were meant to be driven. They weren't meant to be, trailer queens. And a lot of what we see here today are those types of cars. But talk about what that kind of means to you.
Well, it means everything to me because, I drive it every week. It takes you back. It's fun. You have to work. You have to know how to drive a car to operate these things, especially with the way the drivers in Albuquerque are. Yeah, fortunately, this is a hot rod, so I can keep up with pretty much anything here. So they're just fun, They really are. Why would you want to drive a electric car, for Christ's sakes,
Well, I was just going to ask you, other than this car, what's been your favorite car you've ever owned?
I had an Alpha Sprint Veloce.
Oh my goodness.
Which I dearly loved, and I sold it when I went to Vietnam because I wasn't sure if I was coming back.
Yeah.
And I could never find anything really comparable to replace it. I did get a Fiat with an Oscar engine, which is a Maserati-built engine, that served me for 18 years. I drove that thing, and one of my automotive mentors here in town, Ken Adams.
Yes.
Ken raced a similar car with the same engine, so we made it. Immediately became friends and have been for 50 years, I guess. I hope Ken shows up today.
I was going to say, shout out to Ken Adams. Of course, Ken Adams also known for racing VWs in town on the dirt out at Speedway Park. So
Absolutely.
A lot of need. One of the things that we love about these community events, and a car show is basically a community event, is getting together with the old friends. People you only see at the last car show you were at. Talk a lot, kind of the car community.
Well, we're all in it together for love and money, So
or lack thereof.
Lack thereof, exactly. Yeah, Dave.
Get him and you guys come in.
This is a great event. I don't want to go to a concert. To tell you the truth, I'm afraid there's some crazy at a concert that's going to hurt somebody.
Right.
Here we're all friends. We're all here for the same reason. Yeah. We want to pat each other on the back for all the work that we've done to these things, all the money we've spent, and all the hours.
The economy thanks you.
Oh yeah, the economy does. Yeah. And fortunately for this style of car, all the parts are still readily available, although they may come from countries of questionable origin. But you take what you can get and keep them running.
Well, thank you so much. This has been this edition of the Dave and Dave Show. Always good to see you, Dave.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Supernational Car Shows here at the Albuquerque Journal, part of our In Your Community celebrations, where we are coming out to you to engage with the community during our 100-year of local ownership celebration. I'm Gino Gutierrez, joined by AJ, the news hero. John Avila, David Swope, my co-host, and Mark Avila, and we have three really awesome, I would call them kind of hot rods. They remind me of my Hot Wheels that I used to have when I was a kid, and you guys have quite the row of vehicles out here. David, I know you're eager to kind of get to know these cars and have these gentlemen help us learn a little bit more about them.
Well, very much so. And of course, also happening this week, coming up on Wednesday, is a celebration of the 100th anniversary of Route 66. And what a better way to celebrate this than one, there's going to be a car show coming through town called the Great Race. Come out on Wednesday night, evening. They're going to do a night stop here. But these are some of the cars that I remember Route 66 about. John, talk a little bit about how this is kind of a family addiction, and then we'll actually have Mark check you for accuracy.
Great. Thank you, David.
Yes.
It all started with a pickup that's back there,
Awesome.
you know, in 2002. And really, it was more for me about family than it was about the cars. Although I grew up in the 40s. So all of these cars were still on the road way back then. So some of my fondest memories are about cars like this. And I feel really privileged that I get to do what we're doing. And also that it has involved all of my boys. So they all come to the car shows now, including a great-great-granddaughter.
Wow.
Who comes to the car shows with us.
So, Mark, talk a little bit about kind of the family atmosphere. Now, I remember the first time I grew up racing with my dad, and I remember the first time I was going to get to touch the car, and he hands me a bucket and a sponge and says, "Clean the car." Is that how it got started for you?
Yeah, that's actually correct. I mean, I've been cleaning cars for the last 20 years. Just washed all these three up yesterday. So, yeah, absolutely. It's been a blast with my dad, and, it's been a long, fun journey with him.
When he talks about grandkids and great grandkids, talk about how that is such a family culture, especially here because we're here on Father's Day weekend.
Yeah, we definitely had to come out for this show, and it's just been great having the whole family be involved. My great niece comes out and she has a blast. She rides in the back of the limo and sticks her head out and waves at everybody. So yeah, it's great.
That's fabulous. Well, as we were kind of talking about Route 66 and the 100 years, and you're talking about the classic cars along the way, the one right behind you here, and it actually says Tommy Gun on there. One thing I was thinking about was the movie, you helped me with it, Bonnie and Clyde. Right. And so talk a little bit about why you kind of went with a limousine.
So, well, I had seen it in an ad for sale.
Uh-huh.
And it was back east somewhere. And I was really interested in it. By the time I decided that I wanted to buy it, it was gone.
Oh, my goodness.
So I kept looking for another one. And then it shows up in an ad in California.
Okay.
So somebody obviously had bought it and taken it to California. And so we made a deal with that guy. I made a deal with him to buy it. And Mark and I flew to San Francisco, met the guy at the airport, and drove this car back home in terrible shape.
Wow.
It broke in needles on our way home.
Oh, my gosh.
And the guy said, well, I could have the part here in 2 or 3 days. I said, we can't wait for 2 or 3 days. So we drove it with leaking oil out of the...
Just kept refilling it.
Yeah, just kept adding oil to it until we got it home. So, but it just, to me, was different and unique, and somebody really put a lot of work into the stretching of it, So this whole center part, the center where the center window is,
Yeah.
that whole part the car was cut in half, and then that part was added in and welded back together. Anybody that knows anything about welding knows how difficult that is.
Yeah.
To be able to do that and have the
It's
car
seamless. I mean, I thought it was that way.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So, is the door in the center? So it's solid then. Are the other two doors suicide or?
Tell you got the 70% of the cut.
They both open.
Okay.
They're both suicide. They're both suicide.
So Mark, even the middle one?
No, there's no middle door. That's
Oh, okay. Okay. That's cool. And it's also, the top's been lowered. The top's been chopped. So,
Yes.
what is it? Chopped 2.5 inches and stretched 3 feet.
wow. See, those of you that know what that means are one of us. All right. I'm going to step this way. Let's step this way a little bit. I want to get this one in the shot. And John, tell me a little bit about this. What, 30, 37, 39?
37 Ford.
37 Ford. So tell the viewers a little bit about it.
You'd still be able to.
This car came from the auction in Arizona. And my wife and I were at the auction it wasn't the Barrett Jackson.
Okay.
It was a smaller auction. And this came up on the block. I had seen it out before. So we bid on it and bought it. We drove it home from Phoenix back here to Albuquerque, and it obviously was built more as a show car than a driver. So on our way home, the back end.
There's a consistency to this story.
Yeah. The back end broke off.
Oh my goodness.
So
2 to 3 days for parts, right? Like last time?
no, I was able to keep driving it, and finally I got to Gallup, and then the boys came with the trailer. And we put it on a trailer to get it home. So I rebuilt the whole bottom end of it.
Wow.
It's got a 8-stack fuel injection system built by a guy by Imagine Fuel Systems in Phoenix. And that's all he does. He's an old-time car guy and has been doing that for years. So it has won first place at the National Street Rod Association show.
Wow.
Which hosts about 2,000 cars.
Yeah, those are big shows.
Yeah, it's a big show. So it's been one of my favorites, you know.
Well, if Tim Keller's watching, we'd really like to get one of those shows in Albuquerque. How long have we been trying to get that show in Albuquerque? 20 years?
Yeah, and we got it here once. For a couple of years.
My apologies. But that doesn't mean we can't do another one, right?
We definitely need it to come back, though, for sure.
Well, Mark, so at what point did you think, well, maybe I should start a towing company?
Early on, it was like 20 years ago.
So let's talk about the truck. I mean, my first hot rod was a 56 Chevy pickup, 350 horse, 327 in it. It was the fastest truck in the valley. I only defended the title twice, so I don't know where the reputation came from, but I took it. But let's talk about, starting with a truck. I think nothing connects America in 100 years, 250 years of the United States this year as well, as pickup trucks. Tell me a little bit about the pickup.
The pickup truck. This is the very first vehicle that I bought in 2002.
Okay.
And I brought it back home. My wife and I again flew to Bakersfield, California, and met the guy in Bakersfield and purchased it from him and drove it home.
Now, did this one make it all the way home?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. At least 1 out of 3 is not bad.
Made it all the way home. But after I got it home, I had it repainted. Jim Plummer was the guy that did all the paint job and body work on it. Yeah. Then the engine, it had a small Buick engine in it. So the engine had a crack in the block. So I found another block, and then I thought, well, if it can hold a small Buick engine, how about a turbo?
I believe it's twin turbo.
Yeah. So I looked and found a 87 Buick Grand National.
Wow.
Turbo for it, and bought it. Mark and I drove to Las Vegas, Nevada in our pickup, and met a guy there that had it and put it in our pickup and drove it back home. So
that's fantastic.
So it's been like this evolving dream.
Yeah.
That just keeps getting better and better and better and better. If you notice the insignia on the seat covers and on the other side on the cover for the turbo.
Oh yeah.
It's got a swirl on it. That was our company logo.
Okay.
And I had those put on the
That's wonderful.
car when we had it.
That's wonderful. So, Mark, as the son of a collector, I've seen a lot of things over the years. Now, excluding these, what is like one of them that got away, or that you always wanted? Tell us about that one.
Well, with my pop, nothing gets away.
Okay.
But as far as me, I actually want a 53 Merc or a 76 Chevy SS Nova.
Okay.
That was actually my first car in high school. So
Well, there you go.
I want that car for sure.
Yeah.
But it's been real pleasure, doing this with the family and, with my pops,
Yeah.
I mean, he's 87 years old. I mean, he's still going, kicking and loving every minute of all this.
Well, that's absolutely fantastic. So I'm thinking the Merc. I mean, I'm thinking lead sled, like right on the ground, right? And then I used to have a guy that I went to high school with that had one of those Novas that was super nice. So I appreciate you guys coming out, joining the show, spending a few minutes with you talking about your cars, and we thank you so much. And we hope you've enjoyed this. We've really been out having a lot of fun out with the Journal, out in the community. So we're probably going to talk some more cars. So stay tuned or check out the next episode.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Supernational Car Shows here at the Journal Center. A lot of awesome cars out here on the parking lots of the Albuquerque Journal. I'm Gino Gutierrez, joined by my co-host David Swope. We've got AJ, the news hero, here with us as well, and Carl Mosier. And Carl, we're standing in front of your 1965 Chevrolet Corvette, also known as Big Blue as well.
Yes.
Very cool to have this car out here.
Thank you.
As all of you guys know out there, it's the 100th anniversary of Route 66, also the 100th anniversary of Lang family ownership of the Albuquerque Journal. So a couple of cool centennial events going on out here. The Corvette, probably one of the most iconic American super muscle cars that you can think of. And David, I know this caught your eye right away, a really, really cool car.
Well, yeah, I mean, my car addiction started with a 63 split window. So I always loved to see the Corvettes out. And you've done some really neat mods to this. I mean, you've got the expanded fenders. We're going to talk about the motor here in a little bit.
Okay.
But talk a little bit about your passion for Corvettes and how you kind of got into collecting and building Corvettes.
Well, I'm not just a Corvette guy. I like all muscle cars. I'm big into Shelbys and Mustangs, but I also like a lot of other cars too. I'm not that one kind of car guy. This 65 Corvette found me about 10 years ago, which most cars find their owners, I believe. And it was kind of a sad little car with solid bones. And so I started working on it, and it just went and went and went. And we finally wound up with this car the way it is.
Talk a little bit about the motor mods. You said recently you were doing some video, and we have some B-roll so the viewers can check it out. But talk about some of the mods you did to the motor.
Well, the engine is completely not Chevy. It's a 540-inch Brodix big block.
Okay.
Aluminum block, aluminum heads, all Lunati rotating assembly. It has an Inglis stacked intake. And then I got kind of challenged by a friend of mine to put a supercharger on it. So it's got a Vortec V7 supercharger with an all hand-built intake plenum that you might want to take a look at.
Absolutely.
But the whole engine is aluminum, top to bottom, all ARP bolts, all super solid, cool stuff.
Well, the curb weight on the Corvette is one of the reasons why it was such a fast production car. With all this aluminum, I mean, they typically start about 2,800 pounds. I mean, what's the gross weight on this car?
I have not had it weighed. You're the third person to ask me that today. So I think it's time to get it weighed. But actually, that engine is about equivalent to a 327 Chevy, which this car came with.
Okay.
But this is 540 inches, and it's 766 horsepower at the rear wheels right now, is where we had it tuned. We could have tuned it more, but it's like, that's enough for the street. That's plenty. And so as far as weight, I'm not sure. I would imagine it's about the same as a stock 65 Corvette with a small block.
Well, it's still pretty light, which the speed to weight ratio is fantastic. So you actually mentioned the car community. New Mexico, with the lack of rain and the salt that they put on the roads like they do back east, there's such a major car culture here. Talk a little bit about your involvement with the car culture over the years.
Well, since I was a little kid, I've been a car guy, and I grew up here in Albuquerque, so I saw all of it. I saw South Eubank, I saw Vip's Big Boy on Central, I saw all of it, Eastdale, and so I was always in and around cars, whether it was Volkswagen Baja Bugs or motorcycles or a 66 Shelby or a Roadrunner or something, so I've had a bunch of them. But Albuquerque has an amazing number of cool cars per capita. I think. And so it's an amazing car club culture here, car culture.
Right.
And so I don't know. Okay.
I think it's absolutely amazing, including, 100th anniversary of Route 66. The great race is coming through town again. They came in about 6 years ago. I hosted something over at the Unser Racing Museum, but they're actually going to be here on Wednesday night, and they're going to do a stay over in Albuquerque, going from Tucumcari, and then the next day they're going to Gallup. I think that's a really good example of how, Bugs Bunny took a wrong turn at Albuquerque. So, it's always been kind of in our culture, but you've also ran a business here in town. Talk about just overall the community and how Albuquerque is probably one of the best kept secrets in the country.
Well, I agree. It is. And it's always had a great car culture. I remember I was in the paint and body business way a long time ago, about 1980, 81. And in fact, that's where I met my buddy Jim Guthrie. And so I got out.
Are you responsible for that?
I'm not going to say a word about that because I got out of the paint and body business shortly after. Jim took off and never looked back. He did spectacular with it and did a wonderful job.
His dad told him to stop painting cars in the garage.
Exactly. So he came to my shop and was painting them. And then he decided he needed to open his own, which, like I said, he never looked back after that. And he's done a spectacular job.
Yeah.
You got to hand it to Jim Guthrie. And look, what Jim, this is just one of his little endeavors with cars, right? And he's largely responsible for a lot of the car culture in this city. So he's good guy. But no, I'm excited about the Route 66 thing. And I think that's part of our heritage here too with cars is Route 66.
Right.
We all cruise central. We've all, seen that whole deal. And to have it still happening today is spectacular. And to have groups coming in from Australia and Europe and all over the world to drive the old route is really cool.
Right. Well, Carl, thank you for your time, and thank you for sharing Big Blue with us. It's absolutely beautiful. So we hope you've enjoyed some of these segments with the Albuquerque Journal, getting out in the community. So stay tuned for different things that we're doing over the years, and definitely congratulations to the Albuquerque Journal for 100 years in New Mexico.